diagnosed, go here, right? Because there's going to
Right.
be all these resources for you, and then you just go, oh, okay, then I need to go start putting together my team, right? You need your help team when you're going through a
Right.
major challenge, and you
Absolutely.
don't just rely on the white coat anymore.
Welcome to Wisdom on the Front Porch. Subscribe, ring the bell, like, and share the wisdom. Pull up a chair and join us with today's guest.
Welcome to another great episode of Wisdom on the Front Porch. And sitting on my front porch today is Rob. Rob, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, our audience. Pull up a chair and let's get talking. So, Rob, tell
That
us a little bit about yourself.
sounds great. I appreciate you. What a pleasure to be here. Really, I'm excited. This will be a fun conversation.
Good.
So, um, gosh, my stories can go as little as a couple of minutes all the way up to hours, but it's real quick. I grew up as a young athlete and love all sorts of sports and thought running was going to be my future. And so I had a big success when I was young in running, and then life happens and lots of different things transpired, and I ended up going into got my degree in college and went into the corporate world for many years. And then another major incident happened in my life, and we'll talk about those incidences because they're impactful in my life. Happened and changed my direction dramatically from the corporate world into more of a personal, all natural health focus and world. And then even in that journey, I've had a couple of just incredible life-changing stories. I've almost died probably four times or more, and so I'm definitely excited to be here. And I know that since I am still here, that God has a plan for my life because I haven't got my upgrade to heaven yet. So he's got plans for me down here.
There you go. There you go. Well, that's wow, that's a whole lot right there. How do I unravel it all? Well, we'll just kind of start from the beginning. So you're doing all of this running, but yet you went into the corporate world. What happened that you didn't stick with running?
Yeah, it was actually one of the moments where I did almost not make it. I just made the U.S. junior team, and so I was the second best miler in the country. That was my specialty, was the mile, and
Okay.
I was the second best miler. I just won an international race against six other countries, and I was at the top of my game, and just was the next couple of years hoping to make the Olympic team, and everything was just going fantastic. But on a training run in the winter in Utah, that winter, I was out on a long 10-mile run, and me and my friend were on that run, and all of a sudden, my friend he was behind me, and he jumped in the ditch and yelled my name, and I had enough time to turn around, and I saw a 4x4 truck just sliding towards us. It was
Oh
on a
no.
icy snow-covered road, and I had nowhere to go and no time to move, and just said, "I'm gonna get hit." And 4x4 truck hit me and threw me 36 feet. I landed straight on
Wow.
my face and knocked me unconscious. And I'm really blessed to be alive from that accident. And so after that, I tried to make a comeback running, and it just my body changed, and I just lots of things happened, and just wasn't working. So my fallback was my education, which thank goodness I had an older brother who was a great mentor of mine, and
Oh,
he
good.
he helped me make sure I did well in school. So I did have something to fall back on. I got my degree, and I went into the corporate world, and I did what the world tells you to do, right? The world tells you
Yes.
to, you go get the job for a big corporation, and you buy the house with a white picket fence, and you get married and you have three kids and you get a dog. I did everything that the world tells you to do. And I chased that dream for a really long time. So
Yeah. So I getting back to your accident,
yeah.
it's amazing how something can change what we've been going at. You running made me think of Steve Prefontaine and then all
Yeah.
that went on with the Olympic event there. And he never really ran much after that. It really changed his life and it's just amazing. So So you went into something else. You
Yep.
found a corporate world that you did. Did you retire from that, or did you start an entrepreneur business before you left corporate world, to put it that way?
Yeah, it was really what I call the second truck. So the first truck obviously was, a physical truck, right, that hit me.
Right.
And the second truck is a more of a metaphorical truck. It was the pandemic. When the
Okay.
pandemic hit, it was I lost my sales job because I was a traveling sales guy. I lived in Central Oregon, and so I needed to go to California, needed to go to Washington in order to do my job. And since I couldn't travel, right? They downsized the sales team while the company's trying to figure out what was going on, right?
Right.
So it was
Right.
understandable, but at the same point, that was the first time in my life I'd had time to kind of sit back and look what was going on in the world. Because prior to then, I was like this, right? I was really focused on myself, my family, my job, and I didn't care, I didn't really focus on anything outside of that.
Right.
And
Right.
when the pandemic hit, it was the first time I'm like, oh man, this is kind of scary. I want to figure out how to take care of my family, and so how do I keep us safe? And so I started
Right.
doing, research, and that's the skill set that I want to just implore everybody to have is the to start doing research for yourself and don't believe anything that anybody else tells you. Don't believe what I'm telling you, right? Do your own research and then find sources of truth that you really believe in that have no motivation or no motive behind their information. Because what I did find during that what I call the second truck is as I was researching health and how to keep my family safe, I was opened up to just what I call the medical cartel, right? And how
Right.
our healthcare system is so broken in the United States,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
think a lot of
all
people realize that too. They had no
yeah,
idea.
yeah. It
Right.
was it was really eye-opening, right? And so
Right.
and I really at first I was really mad because I was like, how does that happen in the United States of America, right? We're the freest country in the world. We're very wealthy and as a nation, right? Our
Right.
nation is, and
And
it's
we're
like
so
we have
trusting.
yeah, and we had everything, and it's like then I started doing research. I'm like, how have I been so blind for so many years and didn't understand the corruption that's going on in our world? And
Right.
that was just frightening to me when I learned all of that. So that really I went through like how people when you lose a loved one and you go through grieving
Right.
cycles. I had all of those emotions, right? I was super depressed and I was super mad and I was super angry and I went through all those emotions that you go through. And at the end of the day, I was just like, okay, I have to figure out a way to make a difference in this world. And
Oh,
so
that's wonderful.
I
I love
started
that.
trying to figure out how to help people. I wanted to help my family selfishly, right? But I also wanted to help other people. And then so I started creating solutions, and that's what I've been doing for the last 5, 6 years is learning more about natural health. I've just been on fire for learning how our body works, and then how do we
Pretty
use
amazing, isn't
natural
it?
solutions? What?
It's pretty amazing, our bodies. I just
Oh my gosh, yeah.
had knee replacement surgery on the day after Christmas, the 26th, and
Holy
I'm up
smokes.
and walking around. It's still hurting. I still have some more healing to do in it. One of the most painful recoveries I've ever had. I've had back
Wow.
surgery and stuff, and
Right.
this, I never expected this. And then you're down. You can't really do anything
That's
because
so
all your
frustrating, isn't
weight
it?
is on your knees.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's like I had a lot of people praying for me. I told this to the doctor. He was shocked at how fast my recovery has been. And I said,
Awesome.
I've got a lot of people praying for me for healing. And because I'm already, bring the knee up all the way to my chest, already do it. The only thing I can't do is get down on my hands and knees. And my knee does still hurt. There's still muscles on the side that are healing that are connected to my foot.
Right.
Everybody says, but I'm feeling it. But yeah, it's just and I had to go to a Western medicine doctor to do that. I just couldn't walk anymore. That's all there was to it. It was just at that point. But I love that you have a holistic health approach to it. I mean, for me, I believe that they all have their place and you can overdo it with any of them. Um,
Yes, yes,
and
that's
and
so, so true. Yeah,
yeah,
love it.
and I can't take a lot of medicines that a lot of other people did. In fact, I almost died because I had too much anesthesia, and then they're giving you this neural pump on your leg so you don't feel the pain so you can move. But they had to take it off right away and all of this. So yeah, that was the second time I almost I've had to come back
Right,
from the edge. Um,
right,
but it's I have someone that I've gone to over in in gosh, is he in Thailand right now? That I've called when we got hit by the bull last year because I could not get over being afraid of going outside. I mean, I wouldn't even open the door. If I looked out the window and saw the bull, I wouldn't go outside. He's not going
really,
to hurt me again. I mean, it's just because we were bothering him trying to get this wire that was around his leg. And I was so afraid. And I'm like, I can't live like this. This is not good.
right.
So trying to go through that trauma, getting that PTSD, finally it was okay, I guess that's what it is, isn't it? Having to admit it, but finding someone who could help me. And I actually went to Eastern medicine to do it. And, within I think I think it was really 2 sessions of it. I was fine. I can go outside. It doesn't bother me. And then even after we sold the cattle, we only had 3 of them, but it's like we're not set up to where we're not going to get hurt, and we're getting older. We can't afford to get hurt. And
Right.
um, but even if they were gone, I was still afraid, and that's when I said I have to get help. And so I went to Eastern medicine, and it helped. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't scared to be in my own home, which nobody should be afraid to be in their own home.
Oh yeah,
And,
exactly.
and
I,
I didn't want to spend months going through, tell me all about it and all of this because I've
right,
got
right.
family with PTSD and I've watched what they've gone through. And it's like I don't want to do that.
I
I need to
understand
take
that.
care of it
Yeah.
now because it was affecting everything in my life.
It's
We had
amazing
things
how
going
stuff like
wrong.
yeah, how a mental thing can just take over your
Oh
life, right?
yeah.
And, it's very important how, and that's why I'm just so excited about my journey, as I really believe I've learned a lot of tools that I can
Hmm.
help people with. It's like there's so many things that I'm learning, and it's like I don't want to learn them just for me. I want to
Yeah.
learn them, and I want to go out
Share the
and
love.
yeah, and I want to help people because it's just like I think that's why he has saved me. Is he's like, okay, Rob, I've
Right.
trained. I can look back at my life. I can see how he's trained me each step of the way. Like
Isn't that
when I
amazing?
it is so cool. Like when I was young, it was like I was a really good athlete. I mean, I was at the top of the my game. I was one of the top
Right.
athletes in the country, right? And potentially even the world. And I was just doing great. But it took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of effort and training, and
Oh,
just I was
definitely.
very mentally tough. And one of the things I learned a lot about was nutrition, right? How what you eat actually you become, and that helped me a lot when I was a young runner because my
Oh,
competition was eating hot dogs and hamburgers,
yeah.
and I'm fueling my body perfectly. So at the end of a race, I always had extra energy, and they were just like, "How does he always outkick us at the end of a race?" It's like, "How does he always have something?" And it was my little secret. It's like, "Hey, I know how the body works, and I'm fueling it the way it needs, and when I need it, it's
Right.
there." And so,
Right.
I can see how he's trained me each step of my life. And the first truck it was tragic, right? But at the same
Right.
point, he then sent me into the corporate world and taught me how to communicate with people.
Oh,
Taught me how
good.
to communicate with high level executives who worth millions and potentially billions of dollars. And a lot of people are scared to step in a room and have a conversation with somebody
Right.
like that and get in front of a boardroom with 25 executives
So
staring at you.
let's
And
talk about that a little bit.
yeah,
How do you do
yeah,
that? I know as entrepreneurs, especially those that are just starting out or
yeah,
those that are not quite where they want to be, and they're pushing and they're trying, and maybe what the issue that they are dealing with is communication. I mean, it's so
right.
important that we have proper communication. So how do you walk in a room with high executives, Fortune 500, even higher executives than that. I
Yeah.
mean, if he was in a room with Elon Musk, I mean, what would you say? Would you just be awestruck?
Yeah, I would,
If I was in a
Elon,
room
I
with
probably
Dolly
would be.
Parton, I would be such fan struck. I would just like mumble over myself. But
Right, right.
but
It's really interesting
how do
how
you hold that?
yeah. I think a lot of it is preparation, and then a lot of it
Mm,
also is just self-awareness. It's like that all these people, they are all human beings. They're all made of the same God and the same, they all put on their pants the same way I put on my pants. And yes, they have different backgrounds and different skill sets and different training than I do, but I have something maybe that they don't understand or they don't know that I can
mhm,
help them with. And so I always do my research and I, learn how
mm,
to actually communicate. And I was like, what value add can I provide these people, right? They have everything. They have whatever they need, but and I was in sales, so it was like I knew my product really, really well, and I knew my competition really, really well. And so I could walk into a conversation and I could articulate that, right? I could, and I, it was a lot of training on my end of making sure I understood my product and my technology and my competitors' technology. So when I got conversations with the executives, were like, well, why is yours better than theirs? And how's it going to help us? That was the most important thing. It wasn't really why is yours
right,
better than theirs. That was a minor thing, but it was like, what value add can I provide you, right? And if
right.
you're going
How
to
can
use
I
my
serve you?
software, what's it going to help you with
Right.
your business? And if I could show them and explain to them and articulate why and how our solution was going to make their lives better and or make more money or save a lot of money, because we could do both. And so a lot of times it was a combination of the two, and it was just that being able to confidently go in and say, "Hey, we are different, and this is why we're different, and this is how you're going to benefit." And so it's kind
Okay.
of a no-brainer to work with us because we're going to be able to help you with what you're trying to accomplish. So I did my research, right? I understood what they needed, I understood what they
Good.
wanted, and I understood a lot about the actual individuals that I'm meeting with too, because that
Oh, that's
that is
important.
is really, really important when you're walking into a room. You need to understand who you're talking to because some individuals like Elon Musk, right? You're going to talk to Elon Musk a lot different than you're going to talk to, some other executive. Elon
Right.
has just different experiences, different knowledge, and different communication style. And you need to work with that. You need to understand that going in so that when you do speak with them, you can speak with them a way that they understand. And or sometimes you'll go back and look at previous interviews they've done or previous conversations they've done. You can kind of understand what type of personality that person is. There's a bunch of different personality quizzes and tests that I've gone through in
Mhm.
my corporate career, right? That you try to identify these people and say, okay,
Right.
where do I put them? Can I talk to them direct? Or do I have to be very indirect in this conversation in order to explain? So you have to understand who you're talking to, and you craft your message, towards those individuals. So I learned all of that during my corporate sales career, and I think that was very helpful because now when I'm talking about my products and my solutions that I've created from a health perspective, I'm just so excited about the light code, which is the thing that I've put together that I believe is going to help a lot of people. It's like, how do I explain that, to
Right.
people? And when I get in a conversation with an executive and or just even an individual, it's like, what can this do for you? And what value is it going to provide for you? And if not, I think all that training I went through during my corporate world just gave me that sense of just thinking. It's like, why would this person care, right? I don't want to just
I
sell them to
love
sell them
that.
something, which a lot of people do. I
Right.
want to say, what's this going to do for you, and how is it going to help you? And then, geez, that when I buy something, that's what I want. It's like, what's it going to
Right.
do for me, right? It's
Absolutely.
not,
Yeah, I
So anyway,
agree.
that was a lot of learning from that period of my life.
Right. And I understand that sometimes what we have to adjust for what the other person is needing. The book I have
Yeah.
right now, Baxter's Heart, I wrote so children in the home would understand that the other pets in the home are also mourning the loss of the pet that just passed away. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
but that is not where my book has gone. I am surprised at how many adults um, needed to deal with death of their pet. What happens to it? One lady told me she was one of the readers. I have people who read my book before I ever release them. And she says, your book helped me so much. And remember, this is a children's book. But she said,
Okay.
your book helped me so much. The other day, I pulled over to the side of the road just bawling because I couldn't stand the thought of my dog laying in that cold, dark ground, even though I know that he's gone and it doesn't really matter. But
Right.
your book gave me hope. And I thought, wow, I had no idea it was going to take on this life of its own. And so
Right.
in order for me to give the book the life that it needs to breathe, I have to look at that situation. And I think we need to do that. Like you're saying, what do the people really want? What do they need? What are
Yeah.
they
What do they
looking
need? Yeah.
for?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
like that a lot.
and that works for any business that we have. If we really want
True.
it to be successful, people are only going to buy what they want or need or what they think that they need. And
Right.
if we're not fulfilling that, we're not serving them, we're serving ourselves. And
That's
I'm
right.
so glad that you found that. I mean, and you had to, as a salesperson, in order to be successful at it, you had to know I'm selling this product to a multitude of different people. These people are going to be different, whether it's five personalities, four personalities, whatever course you look at that says how many
Yeah.
personalities there are, you have to know how to talk to them. Um, and for some people, that's really tough. Maybe you can kind of give us some ideas of what we're looking for, because if and I'll give an example, and maybe you can take it from this. I'm a very creative person. For me to talk to an analytical person, I have to
Mhm.
change my way of thinking
That's
because
right.
they are not going to respond well to my creativeness.
That's
Put it
right.
that way.
No. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so how do you suggest on something like that, especially if we've never had to deal with people that are not of a like mind of us?
Yeah, I think you got what I went through is a very detailed study on personalities, right? And so we
Right.
went through the IBM Global Sales School, which is probably tens of thousands of people have gone through, right? But it's was really impactful in the respect that they spent a long time on just educating you about the different personalities of people. Because, like you said, you hit the nail on the head, right? You a creative person trying to talk to an analytical person. If you talk to them in your language, that analytical person's not going to understand it, and so it's not going. So it's going to go nowhere. So you
Right.
have to understand. I have to speak their language, not my language. So you don't ever think about how you talk or how you think. You need to say, what do they need? And then how do I take what the products and solutions that I have and how can I phrase it in a way that the analytical person is going to understand? So, like my software, for example, in an analytical world, he wants to know numbers. He wants to
Mhm.
know what dollars are you going to make me or what dollars are you going to save me, right?
Right.
And that's what the analytical guy wants, right? The marketing guy, he's the creative, right? He's the how are you going to improve my brand presence? How are you going to so the way that I'm going to talk to the marketing guy is way different than the way I'm going to talk to maybe the VP of sales, who the VP of sales just wants to know how can I improve my sales numbers, right? How can I
Right.
improve my top line and reduce my bottom line so I make more profit? And so you literally need to adjust your conversation based upon the people that you're talking to. So
That's very
it's just a
true.
critical nature of enterprise sales is doing that. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and digging in and understanding. Now I'm selling direct to consumer people, so it's like I have to look at it as a swath of people, right? Say, okay, here
That's right.
I'm trying to help this group of people, and this group of people tends to like this and tends to like that. And so it's much more generic than what when I was selling 1 to 1 or 1 to 25 or 1 to 50 in
Right.
an environment. I was typically selling to large enterprises. So it was one enterprise I was selling, but then within that enterprise, I had to sell to each individual, right? So I still had to sell 20 different times to 20 different people, even though I was selling to one organization. And each
Wow.
conversation of those 20 was different because each one of those people had different personalities. So I needed to navigate through that sales cycle with that type of mentality is one, hey, I have a 30-minute meeting with this executive. Okay, who is this executive? Where do they, what type of things do they like? Right? Do they have a family? Are they a single person that's just driven and workaholic and they don't care about things? Are they, oh, maybe he's a family man. Maybe he is a religious man. Maybe he's a golfer. Maybe he's not, right? And to understand that, then you can have the conversation. The golfer, you say, hey, I just went to the Masters. It was the most amazing experience ever. And the golfer's going to go, oh, I love you. And so you're going to have this conversation. And then all of a sudden you're on a different level
Right.
when immediately with that person. So you have to do that type of research when you're doing enterprise sales to make a difference. And so that's
Yes.
what I try to do now with my products and technology is like, okay, how can I help? Like we have these red light therapy solutions, and they're just incredible, right? They really help the body in a lot
Yes.
of different ways. But it's like, how do I talk to the mom, right, who's a busy mom who has a lot of things that she's doing, or
I
how do
don't
I
have
talk
time
to
to
the
lay down and let that red light go over me. My kids are
yeah,
calling on me, the phone's ringing, dinner's ready.
right. Right. It's like I don't have time, right? When am I gonna ever
Yes.
put the red light therapy on me, right? So, to her it's like, hey, when you're winding down at night, when you're getting ready for bed, you put the red light therapy mat on and you read, right? You do your reading, and then it does takes no extra time, and then
Right.
you can have that conversation where you're talking to the guy who works out 24/7, right? And he's the Mr. Muscle, and you say, hey, Mr. Muscle, while you're stretching, you lay out on this mat, and then when you're getting prepped for your workout, you have red light therapy helping your body either prepare for the workout, or it's actually helping you recover after you're done with your workout. So you can have that conversation with that person, right? So
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
fun to navigate those types of conversations. But now I'm just so interested in this incredible temple that God gave us. Because one thing I didn't mention about my story is when I was doing all that research about health when the pandemic hit, and I started learning the corruption in our world and how can I help people, I started creating solutions. But I also, at that same point, I'd always been a Christian, but I was a Christian in name only. I was a
Oh,
Christian. I would go to school, I would go to church on Sunday, and I would not think about church. And as soon as the door hit me in the butt, I didn't think about church until I got back in the pew the next Sunday, right? And
right,
then
right.
then I didn't act on it. I didn't read the Bible. I didn't do anything. And so when the pandemic hit, I literally did. I was so frustrated and what was going on. I was like, okay, let me. One of the things I wanted to research, I got into really big into research. I'm like, okay, the Bible. People, talk about the Bible all the time. It's, is the Bible real? I literally was like, I don't know, is it? And so I started doing research, and I did the TAP method, which is looked at the textual criticism of the Bible and the archaeology prophecy of the Bible, and or archaeology evidence of the Bible, and then the prophecy evidence in the Bible. And when you go through all three of those, it's just absolutely incredible. It's like, oh my gosh, at the end of that research, I'm like, this is the most authentic document ever produced. And so if it is that authentic, then I guess I better read it.
You better pay attention to this. And you have
So I've
not
read the
written a book on
Bible.
all of your research. I am surprised.
Yeah, it was
We're
it
gonna
was
have to get on
really
that.
really interesting, and then I developed a personal relationship with God through that, reading the Bible all the time, and that was has really impacted my life because now it's like I'm living for Him rather than living for me. Everything prior to then it was like I was just living for me, right? How can
Right.
I make Rob better? How can I have a better live in a better neighborhood for my children? It was me, 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 not how can I help you, right? And what
Right.
can I do for you? And so I shifted my focus instead of inward, it's all outward now. And I really am very interested in how I can look at this human temple that we have, and it's so complex. And God has given me some very significant health challenges, and I'm overcoming them, and I'm overcoming them in a very natural and healthy way. And I'm learning how to combine modern medicine with ancient medicine, because it's
Mhm.
really
Yes.
important that God created so many things on this earth for us that we need
Right.
to understand, and most people have forgotten. So, but it's
Mhm.
important for me to help people remind them of that. But then, you can't ignore all the advancements that are happening in the
Right.
world, right? But at the same point, with the advancements, we have to be very careful because there's so much money into the healthcare world, and all the science is bought, the doctors are bought, the research is bought, and so they can control a narrative that is really scary, right? Just
Right.
like the pandemic, it
Yes.
was like they controlled something that was very specific, and they were able to roll it out globally. We can talk, about that
Yeah.
in depth
Another
at
another
whenever you
show.
want to. But it's just crazy how that happened, and so
Right. And I
I'm
think a
trying to
lot
help
of
people
people have,
navigate that.
yeah, I think a lot of people have become awakened to that.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
really opened up some eyes, but I also think that it's caused people not to trust.
Right. It's true. Yeah.
You have to really earn people's trust now. They just don't go at things blindly like they used to.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
You
I
can't.
think part of it too
I.
is you talking about knowing what people like, how they think, finding out about the person. I mean, people want real connections now. We've got a world that should be connected so tight with each other because we have all of these things. We've got the text messages. We've got probably like 20 different ways we can communicate with somebody, but we find it hard to communicate. We find it
Yeah. It's
hard to,
becoming an
you know,
AI world versus a personal world, right?
yeah,
Which is
and
which is
I was
pretty
just listening
scary.
on the radio today, and they were saying people don't talk to strangers anymore. And I thought, what? What are you talking about? Because I talk to strangers all the time. I mean, I always have. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it's so hard. Why are you talking to a stranger?" I'm like, "You're in your grocery line. You're all waiting there. You just say hi, or make some comment or some joke because you're tired of waiting and you want to alleviate the rush method that we have, always rushing
Right.
everywhere. When my husband and I first got married, he was appalled that I talked to strangers in line. And I go, "Why? They're just people like you and I, we're
Right.
just standing there." And he goes, "How can you do that?" And it was really tough for him. It really bothered him. And of
Yeah.
course, after 30 some years with me, now he's talking to strangers. And I'm like, "Really? Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy."
Very,
So
very
I kind of
good.
rubbed off
You
on him.
did well training him. Good job.
Yes, but it's unique to communicate. If you have our granddaughter's living with us now, and I don't really know her teachers, I don't know anybody because I'm not communicating with them. We was at a game, and everybody's sitting in their little section at the game, and I'm like, I don't know any of these people. So I found out who was, with our team. And I just started talking to them and go, "Oh, do you know that person?" Because they hollered at him by name and go, "Oh no, that's my daughter's friend who's there, and there's my daughter over there." And so we got to know each other a little bit. I mean, I've got a book about talking to strangers. It's not out yet. Hopefully it'll be out this year. But
Nice. Good
but
job.
it's one of the things I talk about is you're a stranger to them. The things you're thinking about them, they're probably thinking about you. And
Right.
so, just you do have to be careful. There's no doubt about that. You don't want your kids just talking to anybody. So
Right.
you have to set good examples. But that's where we communicate with each other. But it's okay to talk to strangers. I'm in an Uber. I mean, I know where that Uber driver was born. I know what his favorite restaurant is because I'm in a new place. I want to try different things. I had an Uber driver from Ethiopia. I didn't know what Ethiopian food was like, and so he talk to me about it. We talked about where he lived, and I thought, wow, that just sounds amazing. Maybe I want to go
Right.
there one day. And so later that day, once I got to my daughters and granddaughters, we went and had Ethiopian food, and it was
Nice.
wonderful. Oh, it smelled so good, but I would never have done that if I hadn't talked to a stranger.
Right, right. Yeah, I love that. I love that. We're all human beings, right? And that
Yeah.
is the problem with our society now, right? People have these little things like this, and guess what? They're looking at these little devices, and they're not actually communicating with a human, right? And it's
My daughter, my granddaughter's laughing because she's been on her phone this whole time.
yeah, exactly. You
Sitting in my office with
you
me.
sit down at a restaurant, and the whole family sits down at the restaurant table, and they all are on their individual gadgets, looking at
Yeah,
they're not actually having a conversation and engaging with people, and unfortunately that's a negative part of technology,
right,
and a negative thing with AI is that I think that people are really going to be gravitating towards humans instead of brands,
hmm,
and instead of AI type things, it's going to be people are going to be buying from people, and so the entrepreneurs that are out there, is really important that you develop a personal brand, that you
yes,
start becoming a person, not being afraid to get your name out there and to actually be known for something, right? And
right, right,
when you do that, it's going to make a big difference in your business because then people are going to say, "Oh, I've seen him on Instagram," or "Hey, I've seen him on
right.
YouTube," and I'm okay to buy something from him because I've seen him out there. But if you are a nobody and there's just a brand that's called XYZ brand, they're like, "What's XYZ brand? I don't know
Right.
XYZ brand.
And
Let me look at,
who
oh, but
owns
hey,
it?
here's one with Gary Brecka, right? Or here's one with this person, and I'll
Right,
buy the product that's related to this person versus the one that's with the brand." So
right.
that's what I'm really hard, working hard to do is just say, hey, okay, let's develop a brand around me, Rob Rene, and I'm going to develop the light code system, and I'm going to actually go out and I'm writing a book called The Light Code.
Oh,
I'm
good. You are writing a
super
book.
excited about that. I'm trying to get it released in the next couple of months.
Oh,
It's all written and
wonderful.
just finalizing my personal protocols
You'll have,
at the.
have to come back on my Reading Between the Words podcast. Now, I
Oh,
know
that would
your
be
shirt,
amazing.
and you started to say something about your shirt earlier, and I cut you off to talk about something else, but let's talk about your shirt.
Okay, yeah,
Got
sounds good.
things
So
on your shirt.
this is a lot of related to my faith, but this is my company, Exodus Strong. I created
Okay.
Exodus Strong as a company to help people with the light code. So the light code is 4 pillars of health. The first pillar is light. Like the Lord has taught me a lot about one sun. That was the first
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that got me into understanding how corrupt the healthcare system was vitamin D. And so I learned a lot about light, and then I started learning a lot about red light therapy and how important that is. So that's really awesome, and that's the first pillar of health is the light. Then the frequency is the next one. Didn't understand what frequencies were when I first started down this natural health world, and they sound like a weird term to me. Frequency, what is that? And then it's like, okay, how? When I started learning that the human body is made up of energy, and that your body gives off a frequency and your body reacts to a frequency, and you can have these frequencies that actually help the body do what it's supposed to do better. That blew me away, right? So then I developed these frequency solutions and I combine the two. So I have the world's first red light therapy mat that includes quantum frequencies with it.
Oh,
So it
wow.
helps you with frequencies and red light at the same time, which is absolutely incredible. And
Right.
then the
And I'm going to
fuel.
interrupt you again here.
Yeah.
You know, Bob
Okay.
Proctor, as an entrepreneur, Bob Proctor talks to entrepreneurs and business people about frequencies, about the
Oh,
energy that's coming in.
awesome.
And
Yes.
as you listen to him and some of the others, we learn that the energy you're giving out, you're getting back. And that's why they don't want you to have that negative energy. They want you to be grateful and to be thankful for what you have. Because if you're always complaining, if you're always I got to make money. I got to make money. You're sending out the wrong signals to the universe. And it does make a difference when you are grateful. I had someone, well, it was actually the person I went to when I was going through the PTSD recovery, is like, you have to stop where you are, look around you, and look at all the things that you're grateful for. And
Yeah.
it's like, wow, there are so many things right in this little circle right here. I mean, I'm in this small little office. And even
Yep.
within this office, there are so many things to be grateful for. And we take it for granted way too much. So let's continue on
No, that I
about
love
your
that.
two
And in
pillars.
fact, we're going to talk about that in just a second because it's like what you nailed it, right? You
All
totally
right.
nailed it. I love it. But you're right. Frequent. It's a connection to the frequency component, which is really really important. The third pillar is another really important part. It's called fuel. So I have light, frequency, and then fuel. And fuel is what one is the nutrients, like that God taught me about when I was young, right? What you actually put in your body feeds your body. But
No
then I
ding
also
dongs.
learned, yeah, I learned about molecular hydrogen, and that's what
Oh,
really
that's
blew me
interesting.
away. So I was doing a lot of research on the biblical herbs in the Bible, saying, how can I create a solution that's just amazing, that's in the Bible, that's really, really going to help people? And then I learned about molecular hydrogen. Hydrogen is the base element that God created, right? It's
Right.
literally the first item on the periodic table is hydrogen. But if you look at hydrogen, what it does inside the bloodstream, it actually acts as a master antioxidant. So it gets rid of the bad cells in your blood and then helps your mitochondrial process, which is your energy system. It helps it work better. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I was led to this amazing practitioner. I was looking at all the biblical herbs, and he had this molecular hydrogen blend, and we put it together and created Exodus. So Exodus is the name of the supplement that we created. It's got seven biblical herbs and superfoods in it, and then it's got a molecular hydrogen blend. So it gives you the nutrients and energy that you're missing from the ultra processed foods that are out there today. And then it gives you the molecular hydrogen to clean out the blood and to help give you good energy. So that's been super fun, and it's just amazing product. It's helping lots and lots of people. I have lots of practitioners recommending it to their clients, and so that's a fun part of my business. And then the fourth pillar is the one that really kind of things you mentioned is our faith and our what we give off. So in all of our products, we include a prayer card with our products because we literally want you to declare out loud with your mouth, right? And you want to do the things that I have a 7-step program that I like people to do that's just 100% free. Right, here are 7 things you can do that are totally free that help you with your health. And if you do those, it's going to give you a good foundation, and then you can start layering on top all these other, you know, things if you're interested, right? So one
Right.
one of
Right.
those is gratitude, right? I always start off my day like you said. It's so perfect. That's why I wanted to come back to it because what you said is so awesome. I want to start off my day with prayer, and I do my prayer and gratitude because it puts you in such a great mindset right at the beginning of the day, right? You're like, thank you for this, Lord. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my family. Thank you for this house. Thank you for giving me breath today. Since you gave me breath today, you have a plan for my life. And so,
Yeah.
it's really fun to do that because then it starts your day off right. And I think that fuel or that faith component is a really, really important part of the overall human being that we are.
Right.
And
Right.
you combine faith with the light and the frequencies and the fuel, and you take the four of those, and that is what I call the light code.
I like that. And I like what you said. I just received an email this morning from a business associate of mine, and in it, she asked, do you speak life over your business every day? And she
Awesome.
ends with speak life over it. And it's like, how do you speak life over your business? And I had to stop and think about it a little bit. And it's like, it's really not that hard.
Right.
And yeah, I'm just, it's like, how many times do we, you know, what's going to go on today? You've got your list of things going, but that very first thing, you should speak life over your business so that list comes to life, so that list gets completed.
That's right. And if you don't have if you, that's why I'm so passionate about health, because if you aren't well, then you
That's
can't
right.
you can't make a difference in this world, right? You
Oh,
can't,
yeah.
and if you aren't well, then you can't do your job well. and your business can't thrive well if you're not well. So
Yeah.
let's start here, right? Let's get this God only gave us one temple, right? He gave us this temple. We need to take care of it. And then
Mhm.
when you do start taking care of it, it's really fun because you start feeling so much better. You start
Oh,
getting
yeah.
energy that you never had,
Yes.
and it's just like, holy smokes, I feel really good today. Why do I feel good today? It's because you did the right things to set up to give your body what it needs, and it gives you the energy. And then guess what, man? You can go be so much more efficient in your job, and you make a bigger difference in your profession, and your business. It works better because guess what? You took care of yourself, right? And
Yes.
you take care of your
Absolutely.
health, and then you can start taking care of your business. And I love that speaking life into your business because it's so true. Because literally, there is power in your tongue. The Bible specifically tells us that there's power in your tongue. So you speak it out loud, right? And things can, people will call it manifesting. I don't believe in manifesting, but I believe in God, and I believe that what the Bible says is true, right? And if you profess it, it's very, very important. And things can actually come true, right? The Lord can bless you with things. You can actually just have the right mindset to do the right things, because when you speak positive and you speak life, then things become half full instead of half negative, and then just
That's
things start
right.
working. It's amazing. It's a snowball effect that is real, and it's important. So I love that your friend said that, because I totally believe that.
Oh, yeah. I have a sign that I actually saw it on a post or somewhere, and it says, every day, believe something wonderful is going to happen. And I thought, that's pretty
I
neat.
love it.
So I took it, I colored it, and I told my granddaughter about it. And so we kind of tease each other each morning, look for something wonderful. And that's the key word right there. If you are expecting something wonderful
Nice.
to happen, if you are looking for it, you're going to see it. You're going to find it. If you're not looking for it, if you're
Right.
just going through your
Yeah.
day, you're going to miss out and you're not going to see that. And so every day there is something wonderful that can happen. And when we ask each other about it, it's like, oh, let me stop and think about my day. And it's like, oh, there was something wonderful that happened that I wasn't expecting, something
Yeah. Yeah.
that even if it's something. I got to take a little break today and went for a walk, or yesterday we saw the barn swallows are coming back, so spring is definitely here. And it's just,
Yes.
or the deer that walk through the yard. I love where I live because it's out in the country. We get deer, we have turkeys, all kinds of things that are coming through. Skunk a couple of nights
Awesome.
ago. I don't love that, but that's part of life.
Yeah.
You have stinky things that happen, but you get over it. It's temporary. Is that saying that went for a long time, this too shall pass. It's like I actually
Right.
hated that. I don't know why, but it's true. Life is gonna go on. So thank you
Yes.
so
Yeah.
much
But
for being here on
yeah.
my show. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I just think I love the whole positive mental attitude. It's like the whole that's a cliche. I think positive mental attitude is, but I think it's really important, right? And looking
Yes,
for the positive thing, because unfortunately there's a lot of people that do exactly the opposite, right? They're thinking, oh, today's gonna suck, and
right.
this is bad, and what's all the bad things that happened today? Instead of like what you said, let's look for the good, right?
Yeah,
Let's look at gratitude. And when you do that, your life becomes measurably different, and it becomes measurably better when you have that. So I think it's really, really important. That's really a big part of my faith pillar, is to have that in your life, to give you hope. Because if you have breath in your lungs today, God, He has a plan for your life. So
there
there's
you
always
go.
hope. It doesn't matter if you have stage 4 cancer and they've told you have 2 weeks to live. You're still here. You have
You
hope. You
still
could be
got
healed
two
in an
great
instant,
weeks.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
be you could be healed in an instant, and then you have the rest of your life. You have multiple years left, right? There's been
I
times and it's just anyway. I just felt so excited
sorry,
about that, so I
I'm
love I
kind of
love that.
No, I just wanted to say, I just heard a couple of months ago actually that you can have two people. One is told you have 2 months to live. The other is told you have 2 months to live. And the one says 2 months, okay, I'll get all my affairs in order and I'll go home. The other says 2 months, like, we'll see about that. And goes on and lives for several years. The one who said,
Yes,
okay, I only have 2 months. All right, that's it. And it was a doctor that was talking about he doesn't give dates to his patients. He doesn't say you have 2 months or 2 weeks. When they say
you
how
shouldn't.
long, and
Yeah,
it's like it's up to you. It's up to you
yeah,
how long you have,
exactly.
and that makes a big difference. And you talking about, oh, it's a really bad day. Yeah, maybe there's some really crappy things that happened in the day, but stop and think there had to be something good that happened that day. Maybe that the day is over and you're ready to go on and you can be at home.
Yep, yep.
I had another friend of mine who said when he came in, he actually had like a little post, kind of like what you hang bird feeders on and whatnot, stuck in the ground or flower pots. And he would just pretend to hang all of his troubles on that before he
Nice.
walked in the walkway up to the house. And then when he came home, if he wanted to pick him up, or when he went to work in the morning, if he wanted to pick him up, take him with him, he could. He said he never did. He left him there
That's awesome.
because he
That's
doesn't need to
awesome.
take it. But
Yeah,
but yeah, how many times do we come home from work and or just leave me alone? Sometimes you need to be left alone for a few minutes just to readjust. But he found a way to readjust before he ever walked in that door.
I love it. I love it. My wife has put a sign over the entry to our bedroom that literally says, leave your troubles here." Right. And it's like, so you leave your troubles before you go into the bedroom. And then in the
That's right.
bedroom, your troubles are gone. And another, like you had said, your friend, I literally yesterday was in a hyperbaric chamber getting hyperbaric. And it was a really big hyperbaric chamber where you have like 6 people in it, and it was just this wonderful woman and I were in this chamber together, and I learned her story. And her story, she has Hodgkin's lymphoma, and
Oh,
it's really really significant disease, but she's had that disease for decades. And
oh,
she's been
wow.
told many, many, many times, you only have a few months to live, right? And here she's been living for decades, and she's just like keep going on. So she's just like
Wow.
you can't define time on a human being, right? And it's like it's God's decision, not the doctor's decision. And your attitude has so much, because she said literally every single time, she's like, no, I don't think so.
There you
Right?
go.
When they tell her that, she's like, I don't think so. It's not my time yet. And it's like, so she had that attitude, and she does what she needs to do, and she's learning how to take care of her body, and she's working with the right practitioners. So just there is it's just very, very important, right? That you have that attitude,
Absolutely.
and life can be so
Absolutely.
much better, and you have hope. So
Yeah. Yeah. A few years ago, I decided to not drink sodas. I still do once in a while, but it's mostly bottled water, that I have. And also been
right,
asked my doctor, it's like, yeah, I kind of gained too much weight. So what can I do? And he recommended a Mediterranean diet. And sometimes I don't like doing all that preparation in the morning, but when I have it on my plate, it's like, oh, this is really good. I'm so glad I
right,
did that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
literally am reading a book called The Biblio Diet from Jordan
Oh,
Rubin. And
okay.
Jordan Rubin, he wrote the Maker's Diet a long, long time ago.
Right,
But
right.
the Biblio Diet is his new version. He and Josh Axe, which is another very important person in the health all natural health world, they wrote this book together, and it's fascinating because I'm going through a really incredible health journey right now. I'm winning the battle. And I'm super excited about that. And I am on a Mediterranean diet because of the exact things you mentioned. It's so,
Right.
so good for the human body. It gives you the right nutrients that you need, and your body
Yes.
needs those
Yes.
nutrients. And there's so much bad stuff with ultra processed foods and the chemicals that are in a lot
Oh,
of our
yeah.
even meats and things like that, where the Mediterranean diet is just an awesome diet. So I'm so glad
Yeah.
that you're doing that.
Yeah, you're talking about the ultra processed foods. That was really kind of tough in my house because my husband wanted all of his potato chips and stuff, and it's fine. What he wants to eat, it's there. But I started looking at ingredients list and everything, and it's like
Yeah.
I stayed away from processed foods as much as I could. In our house, there are still processed foods chocolates in there. Wasn't kidding about the ding dongs,
Right,
which I
right.
don't know why. It's the only chocolate I seem to be able to eat that doesn't really bother me. But I was having gallbladder issues is real common in my family, and I've had mine out now. But that was one of the reasons that I was going to more water Mediterranean diet to stop that because it's has its own issues and whatnot. Um,
Yeah,
but what a difference. My energy level is higher. I feel so much better. I can go all day working. I do stop for lunch and stuff. I do take care of myself more than I have. And
good.
and it's just amazing that, you know, you get that start with that little bit of meal and you don't have to do a whole lot. Just took a little bit of kale and spinach and put it in, when I scrambled my egg and a little bit of other things. And there's such a nice flavor to it. And it's like, wow, that was really good. I wish I would have made more.
I like it.
Yeah, but we need to let people know how to get a hold of you and how to find out more about what you do and where your book's going to be when it comes out.
Yeah, sounds great. So Exodus Strong is the easiest way to get a hold of me now. That's my company that I'm putting the whole light code system in. And then I'm building a community called Biohackingville. And Biohackingville is important to me because it's like all the things that I'm learning about red light therapy and about cold plunging and about all these things that are biohack related and like nutrition, right? And all the things that I'm learning. I'm putting into this community because I want to have just resources. When I got diagnosed with the condition that I have, I'm actually literally battling stage 3 melanoma right now. So I'm going
Oh,
through a
wow.
cancer journey. It's been the most incredible 12 months of my life, but I'm winning that battle. And but I've learned so much about integrative oncology in the last 12 months that I have all this information that I wish I would have had 12 months ago, right?
Right.
That nobody else. When you're newly diagnosed, it's like I want to give this resource to you because then it's like, oh my gosh, now I know what to do, right? And I know where to go,
Or
and I know the things that
preventative,
are available to
you
me.
can.
And it's like stuff
Yeah.
that's taken me 12 months to figure out, and I do a lot of research, so I know a lot of different things, and I want to just give this to people. It's like, hey, if you're not diagnosed, go here, right? Because there's going to
Right.
be all these resources for you, and then you just go, oh, okay, then I need to go start putting together my team, right? You need your help team when you're going through a
Right.
major challenge, and you
Absolutely.
don't just rely on the white coat anymore. When I grew up, that's what you did. You went to the white coat, and the white coat just told you everything you need to do. And now you need to take care of your own health. That's one thing I just want
Absolutely.
to tell people. It's like just be
Yes.
your own quarterback, right? And then you
There
you
you
get the
go.
right people into your program, and then man, you can really change your life dramatically if you just start looking at it that way. Do your research, find the right people, put together your team, and then your team can make a huge difference in your health because it's not going to be just one individual anymore. It's going to be a team of
Right.
people,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
it's important.
Yeah. So give us the name again. It's Exodus what?
Exodus Strong. So just
Exodus
Exodus
Strong. All
Strong.
right.
Yeah, exodusstrong.com and then biohackingville.com. Well, those are the
That's
two places
wonderful.
to find me.
I love it. Thank you,
So
Rob, so much for being here. Thank your audience for sitting on the porch with us. This has
you
just been a
bet.
wonderful conversation. I love these conversations on my front porch. And we'll see you next time. Be sure and go to Exodus, oh,
Strong.
Exodus Strong.
exodusstrong.com. Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Ville, and it's like, wow, I just want to go there and hear all the
I
different
know.
things
That's
that are
why I did
going on.
the Ville because it's like, hey, I love biohacking, right? There's all these
Yeah,
cool things that you can do to the human body, but why don't we just put together a community? All the people who
there
like
you go.
biohacking, let's learn together. So
Great resources, great
that's what I'm
resources.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you again, our audience. And we'll see you next time on Wisdom on the Front Porch.
Thank you, my front porch friends and neighbors, for pulling up a chair with me and my guest today on Wisdom on the Front Porch. Now, if you've got value from this conversation, would you do me a favor? Leave a quick review, then share it with someone you know who could use some inspiration. It helps more friends find their seat on the porch. And hey, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what's next. Until then, keep the porch light on for new wisdom every time you show up. Your seat's always here for you on the porch.